Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today's explainer is a little different. It's incredibly raw and honestly deeply emotional. We're looking at a deeply personal source text titled The Mother I Hated Most. What we're going to do today is a cinematic breakdown of a life-altering conflict. We are going to map out the exact anatomy of a family tragedy as it unfolds in real time. We're looking at one single fateful night, a night that started with a totally normal everyday request and ended in absolute devastation. So let's dive right in. I wish you weren't my mother. Just sit with that for a second. I really want you to think about the psychological breaking point that could drive a child to look her parent dead in the eye and say something so utterly devastating. This isn't just your typical teenage angst. This is the sound of a relationship completely fracturing. In the text we're analyzing today, this phrase isn't just dialogue, it's a weapon. And to understand exactly how things reach this agonizing climax, we have to rewind to where the evening began. And that brings us to Section 1, the birthday wish, or a 17th birthday request. Every tragedy has its inciting incident, right? And the setup here is just so relatable. It's our protagonist's 17th birthday. It's a huge milestone. At 17, your desire for independence, for status, for validation, it's literally at an all-time high. This should be a celebration, but instead it becomes a battleground over one specific thing, a brand new laptop. Now, what's fascinating isn't the laptop itself, but what it represents. To this teenage girl, it's not just a screen and a keyboard. It's a gateway. It's a symbol of belonging. In her mind, she absolutely needs this to be normal, to be accepted. It became the sole focus of her birthday, holding this massive, almost dangerous amount of emotional weight. And this line perfectly captures why the stakes felt like life or death to her. Everyone in my class already had one. You can just feel the intense peer pressure embedded right there. We've all been there, haven't we? That suffocating feeling of being the only one left behind. This desperate need to fit in completely clouded her perspective. She had tunnel vision. All she could see was her own immediate social survival. She was completely blind to the reality of her mother's world. Which shifts us over to Section 2, the ultimate refusal, or the silent price check. I want to slow things down here for a second, because the tension in this scene is incredibly thick, and it happens in almost total silence. We go from the loud, demanding internal monologue of a teenager straight into the heavy, quiet reality of an adult carrying a burden she just can't explain. The text breaks it down into 3 simple, heartbreaking steps. Step 1, the mother quietly looked at the price. Step 2, she shook her head. Step 3, she said, "I'm sorry." That's it. No lecture, no anger from the mother, just the agonizing reality of hitting an absolute financial wall and her quiet resignation. You can almost feel all the air get sucked out of the room in this sequence. The mother isn't being cruel here. She's just quietly resigning to what she literally cannot do. But to a 17-year-old, that quiet apology isn't an explanation. It's a match dropped straight into a powder keg. And that brings us to Section 3, the eruption of anger, the absolute breaking point. Brace yourselves, because the shift in the room's energy is instantaneous. That quiet, tragic reality of the mother is violently shattered by a sudden, volatile spike in the protagonist's anger. It happens in the blink of an eye. The text literally says, "Something inside me exploded." Just listen to the viciousness of these statements. "You never give me anything. I hate living with you. I wish you weren't my mother." The most crucial point here is how fast she weaponized her disappointment. She took all her insecurity, her fear of not fitting in, and she forged it into a spear. And she aimed it directly at the person closest to her. She wanted to inflict pain, because she was in pain. This exact contrast is really the emotional core of our explainer today. It's a devastating psychological divide happening in the exact same physical space. On one side, you have the teenage daughter. She's consumed by peer pressure, burning with resentment, and projecting this totally false feeling of being unloved just because she was denied a material item. And on the other side, the mother. She's carrying the invisible, crushing weight of financial inability, sheer exhaustion, and silent sacrifice. It's a profound tragedy of miscommunication. The daughter's blinding anger completely hides the mother's unseen burdens. 2 people standing face to face, living in entirely different realities. Which leads us directly into Section 4, a silent apology and the unsaid words. After an explosion like that, you'd expect screaming, right? Or maybe an argument. But the source text describes this sudden, suffocating silence that falls over the room. The mother didn't yell back. She just stared. The narrator notes that for a split second, she thought she saw tears. And then came this. "I'm sorry." It's so jarring, especially right after that massive wall of anger she just faced. Just a tiny whispered apology. The daughter threw her most venomous words, and the mother absorbed the blow and simply apologized again. It's a picture of absolute tearful defeat. She isn't apologizing for not buying the laptop anymore. She's apologizing for the painful reality they are both trapped in. But the daughter, totally consumed by her own narrative, just cannot hear the love inside that apology. This pulls us right into the aftermath. Section 5, the tragic mistake, storming out. Unable to process the emotional weight of what just happened, and still riding the adrenaline of her own rage, the teenager makes a fateful decision. A decision driven entirely by a lingering, desperate desire to punish her mother. Look at this rapid timeline. It really helps us grasp the terrifying speed of this tragedy. Minute 1, the request is made. Minute 2, the silent price check. Minute 3, the refusal. Minute 4, the explosion of hateful words. Minute 5, the departure. In exactly 5 minutes, a totally normal birthday evening mutated into a relationship-shattering disaster. 5 minutes to undo years of connection. It shows us just how fragile things are when unchecked emotion takes the wheel. So, what exactly did she do in that 5th minute? She grabbed her backpack and she stormed out into the night. But the next steps, they reveal the calculated cruelty of this mistake. She actively ignored her mother's frantic calls. She watched the messages light up her phone, and she ignored those too. The text admits she explicitly wanted her mother to worry. She wanted her to hurt. And this is the grim realization. Her perspective was dangerously flawed. She truly believed she was punishing a cold, unloving mother. She had no idea she was causing agonizing panic to a woman who had just taken a devastating emotional blow. And that brings us to the haunting conclusion of this excerpt. Looking back at her younger self, walking out that door, ignoring that ringing phone, the narrator says this: "I had no idea I was about to lose everything." You can just feel the heavy, intimate weight in those words. It's a chilling foreshadowing of the disaster waiting out in the night. That anger, the anger that felt so powerful and so justified in the living room, it's about to cost her more than she could ever possibly fathom. Which leaves us with one unavoidable question. What was she about to lose? The text cuts off right there. It leaves us standing on the precipice of this terrible unknown. We've traced the anatomy of the breakdown, the blinding nature of anger, and the tragedy of a mother's silent sacrifice. But the final, unimaginable cost of that night's mistake is still out there, waiting in the dark. It really makes you think about the last time you walked away in anger. What are we truly risking when we refuse to answer the call? Thank you for exploring this incredibly powerful narrative with me today. It's a stark reminder to cherish the people who carry invisible weights for us. Until next time, keep learning and keep looking beneath the surface.